of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended, which vests legislative powers over the Federal Capital Territory on the National Assembly. I hereby present the 2025 FCT budget proposal to the Senate for consideration. The 2025 FCT budget proposal prioritizes investment in healthcare services, job creation, youth empowerment, social welfare services, education infrastructure, as well as increasing productivity in agriculture. Our objective is to lift as many of our citizens out of poverty as we can. The Senate is invited to note that on the basis of revenue forecast for the FCT, a total expenditure of 1,783,823,708,392 naira is proposed for the year 2025. As such, 85% of the capital expenditure is dedicated to the completion of ongoing projects, while 15% is for new capital projects. This is to sustain the ongoing efforts of providing basic infrastructure and social amenities in the Federal Capital Territory. I hereby forward the 2025 FCT statutory budget proposal and trust that it will receive the expeditious consideration and passage by the Senate. Please accept, distinguished colleagues, distinguished Senate President, and distinguished senators, the assurances of my highest regards. Yours sincerely, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Well, this is already on the order paper for first reading, so we'll take the first reading. Any petitions? Federal Capital Territory FCT Appropriation Bill 2025 SB 787, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
On the Federal Capital Territory FCT Appropriation Bill 2025 SB 787. Move a motion for the suspension of Rule 78(1) of our order paper. And Mr. President, if I have your copies of the gazetted copy.
It's being distributed. Please proceed.
Okay. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I thank you for the opportunity to lead the debate on the general principles of the FCT Statutory Appropriation Bill 2025. The bill was read for the first time today, being Wednesday, 14th day of May 2025. The 2025 FCT Statutory Appropriation Bill seeks to authorize the issue from the Federal Capital Territory Administration Statutory Revenue Fund of the Federal Capital Territory Administration account the total sum of 1,783,823,708,392 naira only, of which the sum of 150,353,906,168 naira only is for personnel costs, while the sum of 343,777,448 naira only is for overhead costs, while the balance of 1,289,690,1 124,776 naira only is for capital projects for the service of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, for the financial year commencing from 1st of January and ending on 31st December of the year 2025. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the thrust of the FCT 2025 statutory budget proposal is to ensure an effective and enduring service-oriented administration for the completion of ongoing projects and the provision of effective services to the residents of the FCT. Highlights of the capital expenditure of FCT 2025 statutory appropriation bill. The total proposed FCT 2025 statutory appropriation is 1,783,828,392 naira, out of which the sum of 150,353,906,168 naira only is for personnel costs, and the sum of 280,527,373,668 naira only is for overhead costs, while the balance of 1,289,690,124,776 naira only is for capital projects for the service of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. Mr. President, very distinguished senators, emphasis has been placed on the completion of ongoing projects, particularly those with high impact on the provision of services and infrastructure to the residents of the Federal Capital Territory. However, a few new projects that are considered absolutely necessary have also been included in the budget proposal. Mr. President, most distinguished colleagues, I urge you all to give this bill an expeditious passage into law. I thank you, and may God bless you.
But we must know that the FCT is exploding in terms of population, and so we should plan for schools, we should plan for healthcare, and we should also plan for water and sanitation, so that in future we don't turn some areas into slums. So the point is education, yes, I said so. Schools, healthcare, sanitation, and the basic infrastructure, and even light, because light can also be a major deterrent to criminality. So we must take all those components together as the FCT is expanding. So even in areas that are not currently occupied, we should plan for healthcare there, knowing very well that in future population will come. We should plan for schools there, so we don't just keep building and building and there's no school close to the residents. And of course the healthcare system on its own. So this is Senator Nengi.
Thank you, Mr. President.
In fact, Mr. President and my respected colleagues, I spent more than 40 years in Abuja, and I have never seen a tremendous progress in the development of Abuja like these 2 years. If you look at the councils, the 6 area councils, there is uneven distribution of resources, and there is a lot of legacy projects led by the minister and supported by the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, President TINUBU. I am saying this with all sense of humility, because I am part and parcel of the people who are in private sector and working very hard to ensure the development of Abuja, but the legacy projects happening in 2 years is very commendable. So I believe this budget needs to be passed, and also there is need to look at the critical areas of development that need to be considered by this very important Senate, because Abuja is a center of the country and need to be given all the support and the cooperation. So the minister has performed wonderfully. He served when we are together as local government chairmen. I know him how he is very transparent, very committed, and very determined to ensure the progress of Nigeria and also the progress of FCT. So, Mr. President, this budget is timely and need to be considered, and also if there is any support for the betterment of this country, I think he deserves to be given that commendation, because all the area councils are supported and there is a lot of development going on. Thank you, Mr. President.
Idiots.
I'm Ekong Samson. I speak for Akpabio South. I want to align with the type of opinion about the FCT. I recall that the FCT mirrors this country. The FCT provides the mirror through which we see Nigeria. Against this backdrop, it is only to be expected that attention will be given to the workings, to the administration, indeed, of the FCT. Visibly, the space has won a new face. There are visible changes on the face of the FCT, and this attests to the hard work of the minister. But having said that, to whom much is given, much is equally expected. One notes the recommendations that have poured in for the job as ably done by the minister, which has earned us respect as a country. When you arrive Nigeria through the FCT, you see the face of this country. To this extent, the concern that has been raised, the recommendations that have been given about the face of the FCT is only to be expected. One only hopes that these recommendations will create also a theater of challenges. We are also to act as a prescriptive organ. We commend the new face of the minister. We also remind the administration that a lot still needs to be done. I am concerned in respect of security. There have been clear improvements, but these should greatly engage our attention. The state of insecurity, as it were, sometimes in our space, but one is encouraged that a lot of attention has been given to this. There have been clear improvements in respect of the architecture, but this is to be maintained. It is also a challenge on us as a legislature to step up our oversight. We have to step up our oversight, working closely with the minister so that the face of the FCT is truly safeguarded. But in conclusion, one observes clear improvements above the FCT. Any visitor to Abuja will be impressed by what he or she is seeing. But as a legislature, we work closely with the administration we will sharpen our oversight responsibilities so that at the end of the day, we will have the Abuja of our dream. The Abuja of our dream is a pan-Nigerian model. Every Nigerian should be proud of Abuja because this clearly signposts our unity as a country. The FCT means so much to us as a country, with the improvements in the infrastructure, with the rebate as it is. One trust that we are getting to the Abuja of our dream, where we can sleep with two eyes closed, where we can mirror, where we can truly mirror the Nigeria of our dream, the capital of this great country. Thank you, and I trust that this engagement offers us a platform both for commendations and to throw a challenge. And we need to do even more so that we can have the FCT of our dream. Thank you.
This is a very important bill because what happens in the FCT reflects the entirety of Nigeria. So I do know that there is nobody that is opposed to the bill being read a second time. And therefore, I invite the clerk of the Senate to proceed to read the bill for a second time. Those who support that this bill be now read a second time say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clerk of the Senate.
Is issued from the Federal Capital Territory Administration Statutory Revenue Fund of the Federal Capital Territory Administration account the sum of
1,823,823,788,000. A bill for an act to authorize the issue from the Federal Capital Territory Administration's Statutory Revenue Fund of the Federal Capital Territory Administration account the total sum of 1,783,808,392 naira only, of which the sum of 150,353,906,168 naira only is for personnel costs, and the sum of 3,477,448 naira only is for overhead costs, while the balance of 1,289,690,124,776 naira only is for capital projects for the service of the Federal Capital Territory Abuja for the financial year commencing from 1st day of January and ending on the 31st day of December 2025. Second reading read. Bill is now referred to the Committee on Federal Capital Territory in collaboration with the Committee on Federal Capital Territory Area Council and ancillary matters to revert to the Senate in 1 week. Leader of the Senate.